join. All right, so good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this section. This is an info section about adult learning and leadership at Teachers College, Columbia University. And first of all, I would like to introduce our professor, Dr. Rajashi Ghosh. And Dr. Ghosh will be the guest speaker for our section tonight, and she will give us an overview of the program. And I'm also very happy to have some current student, Mr. Liu Jian, to join us. Mr. Liu Jian is an EDM student in adult learning and leadership, and he's also an adjunct assistant professor in NYU, in New York University. And we also have a graduate, Jinghui Zhuang Jane, who will share some of her perspectives as a graduate from the program. So welcome to our section tonight, everyone. And I'm going to put up the slides, and Dr. Ghosh will give us an overview of the program. Okay.
Thank you, Ruohao. And excited to be here. Welcome, everyone.
All right. So okay, sorry. I was looking for the slides. So here's the slides. Okay, so Dr. Ghosh.
Thank you, Ruohao. And again, welcome, everyone. I'm excited to be here on behalf of the Adult Learning and Leadership, we fondly call it ALL, program in Teachers College, Columbia University. So this is our beautiful campus, as you can see. So we hope that many of you would consider applying. And if you join our program, you get to enjoy this really beautiful kind of welcoming, inviting campus. From my personal experience, I can say that it's a welcoming community in all ways possible. And the campus kind of resembles and represents that inclusivity that we try to live by as a value in our culture. So in terms of agenda today, I would kind of open with some basic understanding of our program, of our culture in the school, and then I will hand it over to my dear friend Ruohao here, who would speak specifically about admissions and what you need to do and what information you need to have. And then I believe we will open for Q&A and take any questions that you may have. So next slide, please. So it's my favorite slide because it gives a snapshot of the team of my colleagues. And again, I would say that these faculty are the full-time faculty. Beyond this faculty that you see on the slide, we do have very qualified and eminent leaders in the field who serve as adjunct faculty in the program. But let me start with those you see on the slide here. On the very left, you see Dr. Victoria Marsick, who is a legend. That's the opening I would make for her because she truly is a foundational scholar when it comes to adult learning. Specifically, her work on informal and incidental learning has been groundbreaking. And she's a pioneer in the field of organizational learning as well. She came up with the concept of dimensions of learning organizations, and that has inspired many scholars to examine and research and study that concept. Also, I would want to say here is that she's the mentee of Dr. Jack Mezirow, and you would know that TC and specifically ALL program is proud of its legacy of transformative learning theory. And Dr. Mezirow is the founder of transformative learning theory, so she directly got the opportunity to learn as a mentee from him. And so she carries that legacy in her work as well as in the way she inspires countless numbers of students as well as her colleagues in, encouraging us to do research on transformative learning and expand the ways we think about adult learning in different contexts. Dr. Marsick is also, I would claim my mentor as well. I've known her the last decade or so. And she's been wonderful in all ways possible. Like my area of research is specifically developmental relationships. So I often joke with her that she kind of models a star mentor to me in the way that she inspires all of us. Now, of course, the second picture is that of mine, and my background is in human resource development. I'm an associate professor in the Adult Learning and Leadership program in Teachers College. As I was earlier saying, my specific area of research focuses on developmental relationships. It could be mentoring, coaching, learning communities, reverse mentoring, peer mentoring, all of that, as well as developmental networks. I draw heavily from adult learning theories, adult development theories to understand how to design such programs, mentoring, coaching programs. So that way, any kind of adult learning theory is very relevant to the way I think about what should be the role of a mentor, what should be the role of a coach, as well as mentee and coachee, and how can mutual learning happen. My recent work specifically, which has been funded by National Science Foundation, has focused on identity development in developmental relationships, meaning how can my mentor or coach help me process the different identities I have, personal, professional, and social, and then really construct and self-author my own version of who I am. And what kind of developmental prompts, both support and challenge, should my mentor or my coach really provide me or offer me? Then we have Dr. Pierre Fowler, who is a wonderful colleague, and his work specifically focuses on action learning and coaching. And as you can see on the slide, he's also director of our Aegis program, which is a fast-paced kind of executive doctoral program, EDD program we have. And so he has been spearheading that. He's a graduate of that program himself, and he has been spearheading that in terms of all matters concerned in terms of admission into the program, as well as program curriculum development, and also assigning different faculty to teach different courses. I have had the privilege of teaching Aegis courses both in summer and this fall, and it's been a fantastic experience. And of course, I cannot say enough good things about Dr. Fowler as a colleague. We, as I was saying earlier, really we take pride in the culture and community we have in terms of supporting each other. And Dr. Fowler, again, exemplifies one of, that kind of really colleague that you would want to have, because you can feel really seen and included by such a colleague. So I'm really proud to have him in the team. Then we have Dr. Amra Sabik El Rais. She's the director of Center of Adult Education. You might have actually come across some of her work. She writes books, fiction books as well. And her work specifically focuses on social transformation, so societal level of transformative learning. And also she has done groundbreaking work in terms of how to counter, radicalization, how to counter hate. And as we can vouch that the world that we live in, her topic and her work is very, very relevant. So I think having her on the team also gives us an opportunity to be very, kind of cutting edge in the way that we can be broadly relevant to the different types of conflicts that are happening all around us in the world. And then we have Dr. Terence Maltbia. We fondly call him Terry. He's the director of the Columbia Coaching Certification Program, which is a thriving non-credit program that we have. And he also teaches in the ALL program, and so does Dr. Sabik El Rais. And in Dr. Maltbia's courses specifically focus on leader development and what emotional intelligence, cultural quotient, what role those kinds of capacities and skills play in such leader development programs is something that he has immense knowledge and practical experience on. And because he is also directing the Columbia Coaching Certification Program, he's also constantly working with organizations and clients on those particular issues, and that he brings into the class. And across these different faculty, including me, one thing also that we take pride in, that we balance theory with practice. We constantly try to bridge theory with practice, because we can get too theoretical and lose touch with practice, and that, in our understanding, does not really serve our students. So how do we do that? We bring in guest speakers who are industry leaders. We talk about our own consulting experiences in classes. We use case scenarios, and we draw from our students' wealth of knowledge, because all of our students are also working and they have experiences, practical experiences that can be great context in which to apply the theoretical concepts that we are learning. But again, beyond the five that you see, we also have, as I was saying earlier, many talented faculty members who are adjunct faculty and industry leaders in the field. So next slide, please. So this slide gives the mission of Teachers College, right? So ALL, as the program, we are housed within Teachers College, but we are very well aligned with the mission here. As you can see, that we are committed to really empowering learners and leaders to really bring in true change through building a healthier, more equitable world. And we are very much multidisciplinary. So in the program, you would experience, if you were to join, that in our classes, specifically in elective classes, we have students from different programs taking ALL courses. And I think some of the current students or graduates that we have in attendance can vouch to that. But we have, like in my classes, for example, I've had students from clinical psychology, developmental psychology, instructional design, program, social organizational psychology program. So we really emphasize the need for that multidisciplinarity, which is also a value, as you can see in TC mission. Go ahead, please. And so our, housed within that larger mission, then our purpose is to really advance knowledge in the critical areas of leadership and facilitation of adult learning, and apply the cutting edge knowledge that we are finding from our research, from our scholarship to forward that purpose. And all of the faculty I spoke to on the earlier slide are active researchers. And so what that helps with is that we are constantly trying to push the boundaries of what we know and how we know. And as we're trying to push the boundaries, we bring that knowledge into the classrooms. And then we process that with our students. Next slide, please. So this slide, as I was talking earlier, we have Dr. Jack Mezirow, who is the founder of transformative learning theory and whose legacy we are trying to forward through our work here. And transformative learning is a theory that you will see if you were to join the program is woven through the different courses that you will take. Of course, you will learn about different adult learning theories, but TL is a theory that you will see is integral to the way our courses are designed. And so, in essence, what this theory really talks about is that if any adult, any of us, have a disorienting experience in life, what that means is that if we are put in a situation where what we know in terms of our beliefs, values, assumptions are not matching what the situation is demanding of us, then there is we are put out of balance. That's what the word disorienting means, is that we are out of balance. And when we are out of balance, that could prompt us to start this journey of reflecting on our assumptions, beliefs, and values, and thinking critically that whether those values need to be changed, or if they need to be changed, how should we go about changing and questioning those values. And so we try to kind of integrate this theory and its application at different levels in terms of individual learning, social learning, organizational learning, and group learning in different types of workplace contexts. Next slide, please. As I was saying, that we have a plethora of different types of adult learning and development theories that we draw from. TL is one of them, but self-directed learning, Knowles' work on andragogy, is something that we draw from heavily. Learning from experience, experiential learning. John Dewey's work, Kolb's work on experiential learning is something that deeply informs how the courses are designed. Adult development, I personally draw heavily from Robert Kegan's work on adult development. And there are other theorists also that we visit and really explore deeply in our courses in terms of how those theories can inform our understanding of how we can can design different types of learning programs in organizations. Social action, organizational learning, as I was earlier saying, Dr. Marsik's work on learning organizations has been foundational in terms of pushing the boundaries of thinking that, as an organizational culture, we can infuse learning into everyday way of doing work. One of the things that once Dr. Marsik shared with me that has stayed with me is that why do we think learning to be different from working? Why cannot learning be in the, everyday flow of work? The moment we think of learning as different from working, we try to kind of say that, oh, we need to make space for learning after work. And that becomes an afterthought. So she really pushed, us to think that working is learning and to kind of redefine our paradigm in doing so. So at this point, I'll give the floor to Ruohao. And my apologies if I've spoken too fast. I think I was too passionate about talking about my colleagues and about my program. So if anything that I have said, you have not understood because of the pace that I was talking at, please feel free to ask, and I would be more than glad to clarify. But with that, I will give you the floor, Ruohao.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ghosh. The introduction is very helpful, and I'm going to continue with details in terms of the programs. As I mentioned in the group chat, we have 5 degrees in this program. And just now, I also posted 2 documents about the student guide for MA students as well as for doctoral students. If you happen to be in that group, you can open the 2 documents to see what you need, right? Or what kind of choices you have for your courses in the program. So I'm going to give a very brief introduction of the MA as well as the doctoral degrees. And if you have any questions at any point, just let us know, okay? So first of all, where are the MA students? Who are they and what are they doing? So this is one of our friends, a graduate last year, right? The graduate with Jinghui. And she is from Indonesia. And now she's working as an HRD manager. I think she's now working in UN, right? Yeah, she or maybe another lady from Indonesia is now working in UN. 在联合国工作
Sure, but yeah, but she's in the US.
Yeah, she's in the US, right? Okay. So as you can see that these people, after graduating, they will become HRD managers, trainer, facilitator, coaches, consultants, educators, and social activists. As you can see that all these practices are quite related to adult learning, to leadership, to consultant or facilitate of changes. So this is something that we come up with as pathway for our professional graduates. And as you can see that this is Jinghui. Jinghui, we'll speak later. Jinghui is now working for a hedge fund in Guangzhou. 他在一个投资公司工作. So as you can see that it's not limited. You cannot define yourself easily as something. You can actually define yourself in many roles. As you can see that a manager, right, a consultant, coach, a teacher, a professor, researcher, it's up to you. So what will you learn in this course, in this program? This is a summary I have after doing the course review as well. As you can see, these are the core skills in adult learning and leadership, right? Besides adult learning theories, you will learn about strategic thinking. You'll learn about critical reflection, leadership development, program design and evaluation, facilitation skills, digital literacy, for example, AI, right? How we can use AI and put it part of our work. I think this is a very hot topic these days. And change management, research methods, and inquiry. So as you can see that all these skills are not just helpful for clients, it can be very helpful for us to grow in our lifetime. So that's why we are called adult learning or lifelong learning, okay? So what do we have in the adult learning, the basic or fundamental courses? As you can see that we have intro to adult learning, how adults learn, facilitating adult learning, transformative learning. You will see that you will have a very solid foundation after staying in this program for 2 years as a MA student, not to mention as an EDD student, right? You will learn those courses for in 5 years, you'll become an expert, not just as an adult educator, but also as a coach, as a leader, as a change agent. So these are some of the popular electives. I'm going to share one example, and later I guess I'm going to invite Jinghui to share maybe one of the courses you took before, right? From all these courses listed here. I'm going to share about action learning, design, and coaching. So when I was in that course, it was a very interesting and enriching course because we had a real client, which is Banner across the street. You know, Banner is a female college in Columbia University. So we work with their IT department, and our task was to have a review of their leadership, what problems they encounter, what solutions we may come up with for them. So we stay with that client for 3 months. We have interview, we have surveys, we have observations, and later, you know, under our professor's instruction and guidance, we conducted those steps as a consultant. So after 3 months, you know, we have very interesting interaction within the group, also within our client. And eventually we came up with some good solutions for the IT department in Barnard. So as you can see that this course is not just about theory. This course is an integration of theory and practices. It will be very interesting, very enriching, very stimulating, because you know you're not just learning about theories, you are putting them into real practice, but still you're in that course. So I like this kind of setting very much. So how about Jinghui? Do you recall any memories from one of the courses here?
Yeah, definitely. So firstly, thank you, Dr. Ghosh, for introducing the whole team and also our courses and everything. I love to hear that because it kind of like bring me back to TC. And then, and thank you, Ruohao, for introducing some of the courses here. I actually have a lot of great memories at TC. And it's actually very hard to just pick one. But here, I mean, on this list, and if I have to choose, I would say cultural intelligence. It might be very new to us Chinese students because we are kind of like in a very, I would like to say, we say homogenous, but I would say like a very single kind of like culture. I try to use easier English to express it. And then so here we could not really feel how diverse the culture is in our community. But when I was in New York, I could feel like this totally different because it's diverse. And we have to learn how to navigate in such an environment. It's not like I am a Chinese and I hold this view and I talk to people in this way. Actually, we have to learn all the time, like how to talk to different people. So I love this course because in this course, it's actually delivered by Dr. Mobia. And then as just now Dr. Ghosh introduced, Dr. Mobia is overseeing the coaching certification program. That's where I used to work as well. I work as an associate over there for a year. So I have quite a lot of experience with the program as well. And then so in this course, Dr. Mobia talks about how people learn and how our brain function from a physical, psychological perspective. And also he talks about culture. The very interesting thing is like he brought out a sort of parameters, and then that shows like if you are from China, the culture in general is like this, and then blah 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 in a super scientific way. It's not just like a subjective one, but a scientific one. So and also because Dr. Mobia and then has his own coaching program over there, and then he's an expert coach, executive coach. And then so he also combined the coaching model of Columbia University into this course. So we have to like analyze cases, real life cases, and also some set cases by using these different types of models. And then so I want to say like I was super stimulated to think from very different perspectives. It's not just like what I could see. It's like also like how I feel, how that makes sense to me, and also like what I decide to do afterwards. So it's kind of like a very combined course. And yeah, if I have to say something, I pick this one. Oh yeah, so I'll give the mic to
Okay,
Ruohao to
thank you. Thank you
continue
so
with the
much.
others.
So, as a graduate last year from my doctoral degree, for 7 years. Okay, I forgot to introduce myself. So I'm Ruohao Chen. So I'm currently working as a researcher in adult learning and leadership, and I'm also teaching an intro to research course. And I'm very happy that we have the opportunity to introduce this program to the Chinese potential students. And this is one of the most important purpose of our info section tonight. We want to invite more people to come to this great program, because we do not have any marketing or any advertisement of our program to the Chinese market. People got to know this program because of their own search, but we thought that we need to do something more proactive. We need to take more initiative to introduce this great program to more Chinese students. So that's why we are doing this. So as you can see that there are so many practical skills, right? Like coaching, 教练，对吧? Like HRD, 人力资源, or for example, like negotiation and conflict resolution, 就是谈判技巧，还有解决冲突. All these skills are very practical nowadays, especially the world is becoming more and more complex, right? We need people who don't just know about skills, but also know about humanity, and how to handle all those complexity in today's world. So that's why we are not just developing professionals, we are developing leaders and change agents in our program. All right. So some people may be curious about the differences between the two MA programs. The first one is face-to-face, in person. The second one is online MA. Okay. So if you have any questions regarding the two programs, you can put the questions in the chat box. But I'm going to give a very brief overview. First of all, both programs require 36 credits in 2 years. And as an international student, you need to take at least 9 credits every semester. There are 4 semesters, okay? So most courses are 3 credits. Some are 1 to 2. As a student in the program, you have some requirements to fulfill. For example, 6 breadth elective requires, which means that you can take 6 courses outside the program. In fact, in TC, one of the biggest educational schools in the US, we had 76 programs at TC itself. Imagine you have 76 programs at TC. There are hundreds of courses you can choose from. So if you are someone who is like me, who like to keep learning all the time, TC is a perfect place. All right. And then you are required to complete an integrated project at the end of the program. 就是你的毕业论文. Okay. And then, as I mentioned, right, you need to take 9 credits at least every semester. And for online MA students, I think this is something I want to emphasize. Some people say that, okay, Chinese government, they don't recognize online programs. They don't recognize online MA programs. I think it is true, but at the same time, it is not something you should like give up because of that restriction. We do have some students who are taking the online MA programs while they are having their full-time job in China. I asked those students, why do you decide to take the online MA programs? Their answer is quite illuminating. It's quite, I would say they're quite inspirational, because they said they already have a full-time job. They don't care whether the government say it's more recognized or it is not. They want to learn something useful and helpful for their own personal growth, as well as for their own career development. So I think that's a very good stance for taking the course. But still, as an international student, it would be great if you can come to New York, come to TC, right? Because New York itself is a big classroom. You cannot miss it. All right. So as you can see that both programs have 36 credits. I'm not going into details. I think this is something that you can find on the website. Okay. And this is something I find very interesting. Actually, there are so many different career paths, as I mentioned earlier in my slides. You can choose your own academic journey while you are here as a MA or as an EDD student. For example, if you want to become an adult learning and development specialist, you can choose all these courses, right? For example, how adults learn, facilitating adult learning, program development, courses like that. And if you want to become a consultant for organization, for government, you can choose related courses, leadership development, right? Learning and technology in organization, action learning, or strategic development, or executive coach, or development practitioner. So as you can see, I only come up with 3 possible professional pathways. The point here I want to make is you can choose your own professional path while you're here as an EDD or as an MA student. Everyone can have his or her own choice. I think this is something that is quite different from many other programs in the US because we have so many good courses out there for you to choose. Okay, so if you are not just interested in being here, but also interested in being an EDD student, EDD is a doctoral program in adult learning and leadership. We have 2 tracks for you. The first track is the regular one, right? The regular one, still you have to take 75 credits, but you can transfer some of the credits, up to 30 credits that you can transfer from your MA program. If you don't have an MA program before, you can take the 75 program, I mean, from the first course. But generally speaking, it will take students 4 or 5 or 6 years to finish their EDD program. The good thing about the regular EDD program, we only accept 4 or maybe sometimes 3 doctoral students every year, which means that you are highly selected. If you can come into the program, you're highly selected and you have a lot of choices for courses. And you also have many good opportunities to communicate with the professors, which means that you will become an expert after staying here for 7 years, right? 6 years. Generally speaking, keep in mind that scholarship is not guaranteed, but there are so many TA and GA opportunities, and you can also apply for scholarship in TC, all right? And you can work towards an expert practitioner or a scholar. You can also publish articles, attend conferences, and build your own network. For example, Grace and I, we were both graduates from the EDD program, the regular track. And we stayed here, I stayed here for 7 years before I graduated. And Grace stayed in the program for 6 years. But you know what? Grace came to study as an EDD student before when she was 61 years old. You know, when she graduated, she became 65, which means that in our program, you will have a lot of talented people at different ages, from different backgrounds, from different countries. Isn't it amazing? I think this is one reason why I love our program so much. And last year, I was also very lucky to be selected as a graduation speaker. And, you know, actually the year before, one of our graduates was selected as the graduation speaker again. So which means that graduates from this program are outstanding compared to the other graduates at Teachers College. All right. So these are some of the doctoral students of Dr. Masik. Actually, as you can see there are so many Asian faces. Actually, these are only part of the doctoral cohort, okay? These are not all the doctoral students. One reason I would say that is this is a program very friendly to Asian students. One of the reasons was Dr. Masik worked in Asia for nearly a decade, in Vietnam, in Thailand, and in Burma, Myanmar. So, you know, this program is quite friendly to, for example, I'm from China and Grace from Philippines, April from South Korea. And as you can see that this is a very friendly community. And if you're interested in the part-time EDD program, we call it the EGIS program. Actually, part-time is not a correct word because these people, they are taking similar courses to the regular tracks, and they are under very heavy workload and requirement as well as an EGIS EDD student. Why? First of all, they also have to take 75 credits. Secondly, these people, they have to come to TC at least one weekend every month during the academic semesters for 2 years, and then plus 2 weeks in 3 summers in a row. Okay. And you know, you don't have to pay for living in New York, but still you have to pay for your air ticket, right? Your accommodation, living in the hotel. And it's actually costly, but this is a very popular program. As you can see, every year we accept 20 students from all over the world. Every year there are about 2 or 3 Asian students, which means that these students have to come to TC every month. But why is it so popular? Because it is highly regarded. It is treated as one of the best in the field. Okay, so this is a cohort-based doctoral program. You will have another 15 or maybe 18 doctoral friends, doctoral colleagues from different backgrounds, different countries. As far as I know, some of them are already professors in another university. Can you imagine that? They are already professor, they already pursued their degrees, but they still want to come to TC to learn about adult learning and leadership because they think that this is maybe a must for them to grow into a more capable leader in the future. Some of them are HR, some of them are startup owners. Okay, so this is a situation where Professor Masik was giving a lecture, and this is the course when Dr. Ghosh was invited last year to give a talk on, I think it was about research, right? It was about research. So as you can see that this is a very friendly and active community, okay? So you can build a network if you become a student in the program, and you can also attend a lot of conferences. Dr. Ghosh is an expert in HRD, and I think Dr. Ghosh will attend the international research conference held by the HRD at the HRD community, and it will happen next year, right? In February.
Yes, in February in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. And this one, International Transformative Learning Conference, it was initiated by Dr. Jack Masrow many years ago, and then it has become a very well-known international conference around the world. And this year, I think this is already maybe the 38 or 40th year of the program. So as you can see that this is a highly regarded program in the field. Okay. And in terms of opportunities for career advancement, this is my last part. After this part, we can come up with questions. Okay. At TC, you will have a good connection because you get to know a lot of people from Columbia, right? And you will have a lot of industry leaders. And we also invite industry leaders to the program to give speeches. Okay. And also TC will organize different kind of job fair for students at TC. And you can also try to build your own connect with people from other programs. And we also have our own student network. We call it the O network, the Adult Learning and Leadership Network. And then student activities will be organized every now and then, okay? And then we have Columbia Global Centers. Dr. Ghosh mentioned that earlier. In Beijing, we have a Columbia Global Center. And then we have another one in Paris, another one in Greece, in Greek. So the Columbia Global Network will become one of your assets as a leader. So In terms of application, just now someone asked me, do I need to take the standard English text? The answer is yes. If you are taking TOEFL, you need to get more than 100 points. If you are taking IELTS, it's 7 or above. And then you can go to the TC website and try to apply for, for possible spots as an MA student or as an EDD student. The deadline this year will be January 15 for earlier submission, and then March 15 for later submission. Okay, so all the other materials and requirements are similar from school to school. I'm not going to explain too much. And after that, everyone, we are coming to the Q&A part. And I would like to encourage you to come up with any questions you have. All right. That's all for our introduction part. And now we would like to invite people to come up with questions. But since we have Jinghui and Jian as graduate and student currently, maybe I would like to invite them to share a little bit of their experience before you come up with the questions. Okay. So Jane, can you share some of your experiences, why you like the program, what attracted you the most?
Hello, it's me again. Before answering the questions of everyone, I kind of like to give a brief introduction of myself, to myself. Actually, before going to TC, I used to work in the educational field for years. So I taught English in China, and I have some sort of collaboration with different international education organizations in Asia and also like in China and Asia and other parts of the world as well. And then so I supported quite a lot of students to achieve to get degrees in the US, UK, and Canada. So I thought I was kind of familiar with this kind of international environment. And so I worked as a teacher, and then later as a manager, and then as a business owner of my own program and stuff. And so when I first tried to apply to study at TC, I didn't choose ALL. And actually, I chose international education, international and comparative education. I think that's the correct name. And then, but Ruohao, because I used to know Ruohao before I went to TC. And then Ruohao said, why not take a look at our program? And then, so I was like, so I took a look and I found something very interesting because I used to be a manager, but I didn't think that I was successful. That's why I thought that this program could probably help me reshape myself or help myself to become a better manager or a leader or whatever. So that's why I applied and I went there. And in those 2 years, I was kind of confusing because I was kind of confusing. I mean, I was confused, not confusing. I was confused. And then because the programs actually gave me very mind-blowing, super new perspectives of human development, like how we're going to support ourselves to grow. And then as Dr. Ghosh talked about transformative learning in Chinese, how should we translate that into Chinese? Like, because transformation is really a word that we don't usually use in our Chinese context. But I could see as I come back to China for 5 months ago, and I could see that actually people here, they are, I would say they don't know about that, but I could see that they want to change thoroughly. And then so transformation is still kind of like a very key concept over there. And then so when I was at TC, it's kind of like a journey for me to truly transform from a person that I thought I was international enough to become another person that I thought I start to really have the ability to navigate in the international context. Is that kind of like confusing? I don't know, like, but this is my experience. So after learning in this program, I didn't think that I was just a teacher or I should just stick to one path. because I already know like how to develop people, how to develop myself. That's why I seized the chance to get engaged in the venture capital and private equity area. So this is where I'm engaged in. So I'm not just in kind of like international education, and then also I'm part of that field. So that's why for some of the Chinese friends, and then you could see that in my introduction, I will still talk about international education, but also I am in the venture capital and private equity field. And then so it's about investment, it's about finance, and I'm engaged not in a newly startup company, but a pretty well established company. And then so of course I'm taking care of the international program. That's why I'm there, because I have the advantage of communicating with people in the world, in the whole world. And then so that's what I want to say is like this is a program though Ruohao talked mostly about being a consultant, being a coach, being a researcher, or working in the HR industry. But I would like to say there are actually more possibilities than that. And then so you could actually like try to achieve something more than just more of what Rahal maybe just mentioned over there. And then so I think this is the amazing point for me to join this program. This is how I felt I graduated from this program.
Thank you, Jinghui, for your introduction. I can feel your passion, and the good thing about your memory here at TC also aroused my feeling, because even as a graduate from the program, I don't feel that okay, I have everything in my hand. I'm still thinking about some of the key problems of my life, right? How I can develop a better life mission, a life core for myself. And I can see that kind of wondering, that kind of curiosity in your mind as well. So that's very good. All right, so Jian, can you also share some of your experiences? Jian is currently an EDM student in our program.
Right, I think, thank you for inviting me. I think now we have a Dr. Ghosh on the call, and also he's late in the East Coast. So maybe I want to let the student to ask some questions related to our program first, and then we can talk more about our experience or admission process. Yeah, as a multiple times applicant, you have so many stories or experience to share. So Dr. Ghosh, in fact, in the group, we generate some questions. Since you are here, if you don't mind, maybe I can represent the group to ask some of the questions. Yeah, as you can see, also introduced our like a program for either master or the EDD program, kind of like attract a lot of working professionals from different fields. So from admission perspective, do we have any like a strict requirement on how many years of working experience, or are we in favor of people in specific career field rather than the other?
No, from my understanding of having reviewed applications and discussing with my colleagues, I can say that what we are really interested to understand is, do you know why you want to apply for this program? So we don't have like a requirement that you need to have X number of years of experience, or that you have to have this particular bachelor's degree. I mean, you do need a bachelor's degree, but we don't have like a strict idea of this type. What we are looking for in your application is to understand why you want to do this kind of higher education at this point in your life, how you think this program will address something in your current career, in your current work, that you think you're missing, and that this program, the knowledge from this program, will help you address what is missing and expand your thinking. So in your application, that's what we are looking for, that you have clarity around. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. So from our audience today, any other questions about the program before we dive into some technical or other experience sharing?
我用中文提个问题，可以吗？
Okay, I can help. Yeah, I can help you to translate. 我可以帮你做翻译。对，您来问。
太感谢了。就是我听得一知半解哈，但后面最后这个教授在讲的时候就很清楚，但是在前面的整个框架我不是很清楚。就这是一个，比如说多少时长，它是一个在线的还是一个什么样的课程？然后是属于是这种是最后拿到的是这个学位吗？或者说是就是一个证书是什么样？就大概这几个问题，谢谢。
Yeah, I think in fact we can answer those questions. Basically, Dr. Gosh, what she was asking is this a certification program? Is this a degree program? I heard a little bit about the online track, maybe in person. Yeah, so she wants some general idea. Like maybe I don't know if she missed the beginning part when we were introducing that section.
No, thank you for that question. It is a degree program. And in terms of, yes, there is an online kind of version of the program, meaning that you would be able to complete the entire program taking classes online. And our online courses are structured that there are live Zoom class sessions every week or every other week. That varies from course to course. And then there's the in-person version, which means that you will be on our campus and you will be taking classes in person with our faculty. One thing I will add there is that as we are thinking about the future of the program, we are trying to design hybrid classes. What that means is that you have an option, you have a choice as a student if you want to attend online a particular course or if you want to attend in person. In that same class, we are using cutting edge technology to build an inclusive climate that there might be some students who are joining online and there are some students who are joining in person. And as in our real work life settings, most of us work in hybrid teams. So that learning, that skill, we try to then imbibe in the class when as a student, you're also working in hybrid teams for group projects.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Gosh. I think there is a relevant question from Amsina. Like, if we are doing the online MA, like technically they don't restrict by the 9 credits, be physically in America. Does the student have to finish the program in 2 years, or can they take a longer time to finish? Like you said, like we know maybe we all have our work life. Yeah, so maybe 4 semesters is too long, too short. Like, what's the possibility for the online MA particularly?
It is completely flexible. And in fact, I have student advisees who are taking one course per semester because that's how much they can balance with their current work life load. Okay, so it is completely up to you. And when you are joining the program, you will be assigned a faculty advisor, which could be any of the faculty I introduced on that slide. And as faculty advisor, we work with you to understand how many courses you can take per semester so that you're not overwhelmed, so that you can have the best learning experience. And it is very much possible to have a longer duration and take one course per semester if needed.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to add something. Xiaojing, do you need my translation? 需要我简单翻译一下吗？
是的，非常感谢，需要。
Okay. So I'm going to have some brief translation of what you said, Dr. Ghosh. OK. 那小静就是我们这一个其实是个证书项目不是就学历项目了，不是
学位。
对，学位项目我们刚刚是介绍了线上的硕士项目、线下的硕士项目以及2个博士项目，但是我相信像小静你要是感兴趣的话，有可能是学这一个博士研究生项目，对吧？那其实有2个 track 可以选了，一个就是线上的，一个是线下的。线下呢是要来到哥大这边上课了有一些最基本的要求，包括你的学习成绩包括你的英语考试成绩诸如此类。我们其实刚刚讲的很多内容就是有关，如果你真的来这里上这个学位项目，你是有很多的选择的，包括你以后想成为什么样的一个职业或者职位，有很多的项目跟课程你是可以专门去选，你就按照你自己的想象去组合这些 课程，所以呢是这样。但是我们有没有这个非学历的项目呢？其实有的，一个就是coaching programs，我们的教练证书项目是我们跟哥大一起合作的。另外一个呢叫做 workplace learning certificate，那个是在美国这里挺受欢迎的，就很多在企业工作的人，他们想多学一点在企业工作跟企业学习有关的内容，他就会来参加这个证书项目，那是12个学分的证书项目但我们今天主要是介绍学位项目 ，OK？
谢谢若浩。你刚刚讲了，就是如果到线下去哥大参加，然后就是如果是线上参加，也是可以线上参加这个学位项目，是吗？大概需要多长时间？
Okay, Dr. Ghosh, she's asking one important question. If she is taking an online MA degree, can she come to take the in-person courses?
Yes, absolutely. So many of our students who might be in the online program, if they can come to campus, they're very welcome to. And sometimes they do come in if they're in the around the area. If they're visiting that part of New York for some reason, they can email the professor and they can come and attend in-person classes as they can. So absolutely, that is possible.
Yeah, I need to explain a little bit as well. 有一些线上的学生是会来哥大参加线下的课程的，但是大家要知道的一个点就是，如果你参加的是线上的硕士学位，美国政府是不会给你发一个 F1就学生的签证，你只能是以旅行者 visitor 的身份来到美国，而且你不能告诉那个海关说我要是来哥大学习的，他不会让你进来的。所以呢，很多 international students 他们来美国上这种线下的课，他呢就是上那一种可能一个星期、一个周末就上完的课，或者是一个月就上完的课，的确是有一些1-2分的项目、1-2分的课程，一个周末或者是一个月内有2-3个周末就上完了，大概是这样 ，make sense 吧？所以虽然说你参加了 online MA 可以来上一个学期来上1节课，但是呢，你不是叫做学生的身份，是这样的。
嗯，
对，因为美国政府这些签证的问题其实还是挺复杂的。OK，
A lot
好，
of
谢谢
good
若浩。
questions。对，谢谢大家，很多很好的问题。趁着我们教授还在，还有没有关于我们这个项目的问题？关于申请啊、学费啊、生活，咱们可以就是说，等教授下去以后，我们可以再接着一起用中文聊一下。So, any other questions about our program? Dr. Gosh, there is another question from the group, particularly regarding our EDD programs. Generally speaking, a lot of people try to talk to the professor beforehand, like maybe get to know each other, research interests. Is this a recommended practices for our EDD program, or do you have any advice on this perspective?
Yes, I will encourage that. So, if you're considering to apply to the EDD program, I would encourage you to look up the faculty on our website, what they are researching, and if their research interests overlap or align with your interest, and then email them and request a conversation. A lot of our current students did that, and what that helps with is that when you apply, and when the review committee is looking at your application, in your application, if you mention that you've spoken with a certain professor and that professor agrees that you and your interest of research aligns with them, then that gives us an idea that if you're admitted, we can support you through research mentorship. We already have faculty who have interest in your area. And so as faculty mentors, we can support you better. So I would encourage that if you're interested in EDD, look up the faculty's research and email them, reach out to them before you submit your application, and ask for their permission if you can mention that you've had this conversation in your application.
Thank you for the tips. This is really helpful. Let me see. All right. Any other questions about the program while we have Dr. Ghosh here?
Actually, there's one more coaching question. I think maybe Dr. Ghosh can also answer the questions about that. Athena raised a question about coaching.
Yeah, I was just typing that, yes, coaching can be concentration. And you can take, I think the two courses that Ruohao gave on the slide were examples. There are more than two courses focusing on coaching. And that is very much possible that you can elect to take more coaching courses as electives.
I guess I'm going to ask Dr. Ghosh one question. So if one student is interested in being a researcher or a scholar in the future, how can they develop their research capability in the program?
Thank you, Ruohao. So just to clarify, are you asking about the master's program or the doctoral program?
I think many students will start from the master's and they may probably consider furthering the degree later.
Absolutely. If you're interested in research, I would then advise that if you're admitted in the program, even in the master's program, try to connect with the professor, talk to them about what in their research interests you, and also volunteer your efforts to collaborate with them. Earlier, I think, Ruohao, you mentioned about the different conferences, right? So all of the faculty, we go to different conferences and we would love to work with our students, and we already do work with our students in terms of co-authoring papers, co-authoring research proposals. And so I think if you're interested in research, as early as possible, try to contact the professor whose work interests you and engage with them in conversations about how you can collaborate with them and how that collaboration can help you advance your research and scholarship.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Is it okay for me to speak?
Yeah, Athena, yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Chen and Dr. Ghosh. I just want to further ask the question about coaching, because right now I am actually interested in switching to maybe coaching or teacher professional development, and I don't know if this program would be a good fit for me, or maybe I should choose a program that's like more concentrated on either of these areas.
Thank you, Athena, for that question. I would say that in our program, there is sufficient content on coaching that you can elect to take. At the same time, we have courses that will give you foundational idea about adult learning and development, which you can further apply for teacher professional development. So in that way, I would argue that our program gives you a broader set of skills and knowledge, which you can use to then further your career and work on teacher professional development.
Okay, so it might be a better fit if I haven't like decided on which track I want to take.
It
Yeah.
is flexible and it is more, it's broader in terms of, because in my classes, I've had many students who work with teachers, either their school principals, superintendents, or directors who work directly with teacher professional development. And I've seen how much, and they have shared how much the foundational theories of adult learning and development has been useful for them to design teacher professional development programs. So I think it gives you a broader set of knowledge and skills.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I can echo on what Dr. Ghosh said. This semester I took facilitating adult learning. In fact, I was K-12 background as well, teacher development, and we also have two students, one from mathematics education program, one is from the art education. Their focus is also doing teacher training in the future as well. So as Dr. Ghosh said, like our program really set up the foundation for adult learning. You can apply to any disciplines if you want. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. How about like if I want to take the online course, then would it still apply, or you were only talking about the face-to-face program?
This very much applies to the online MA version as well. All that we are saying apply to both online as well as face-to-face.
Okay, thank you very much.
This program is actually quite famous for having a lot of coaching content, coaching related content. You can even attend a coaching conference every other year in the program. And at the end of, I think at the end of next year, there will be the next international coaching conference held by the program. It's a very popular one, actually. Every year, there are nearly like 500 people applying to attend this international coaching conference because Dr. Terry Melby, he's quite famous in the coaching field. He was even awarded as the #1 thinker in coaching, I think two or 3 years ago. So imagine that you have a professor who is quite well known, in the coaching field. Definitely, this program is quite famous for coaching, and I quite agree with Dr. Ghosh. You are not just learning about coaching skills because you can learn all those things in every other coaching programs. You are learning something more than coaching skills and principles. You are also learning about adult learning development and also philosophical understanding behind coaching. So that gives you the wings, not just the skills, but also the wings.
Also, I will add that Dr. Maltbia's program, the coaching certification program, he collaborates with Columbia Business School. So earlier I talked about that multidisciplinarity, right? So if you work closely with Dr. Maltbia, you will get opportunities to even connect and network with the faculty and staff in the business school who are involved in their, offering coaching related courses. And you may be even able to, if you want, you can take coaching courses in the business school, Columbia Business School. That is also possible. So there are a few courses that you can take outside of Teachers College in other schools in Columbia University. So coaching is also a focus in business school.
Right. And we have so many coaches in the program. People who are coaches themselves, for example, including me, including Jane, right? Jane also took a lot of coaching courses at Columbia. Okay. So Catherine asked, does the doctoral program require a postgraduate degree?
I think if that means that does it require a master's degree? My understanding is yes, it does.
One of the reasons is actually both of our regular track of the EDD and the EGS track are very popular. Imagine that you have another 50 people applying for only like 4 spots, and most of them have MA degrees. Maybe the standard is high compared to the general situation, but we cannot say that like 100%. But most of the time, these people have their MA degrees. And the good thing is you can transfer some of the credits from your previous MA degree to the current one, which means that you don't have to take like the 75 credits all at TC. All right. So, Dr. Ghosh, I think they have already raised a lot of questions. Maybe later part they will ask us some logistic questions. So we would like to give you a very, very deep and heartfelt thank you, and thank you so much for sharing with us so much useful information.
You're very welcome. And again, feel free to reach out if I can help with further any clarifications that is needed. I look forward to reviewing and receiving the applications. All the very best to all of you. Thank you, and have a very good night and rest of your day and morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.